All right, let's talk a little bit about the PlayStation Move here, shall we? We have our remote controller and we have our nav controller. I spent a little bit of time with it today, and I'm going to just talk a little bit about the impressions that I have of the units. The first thing is that the way that the units feel, um, ergonomically right. There's no slippage. I'm not a big fan of the strap here, but I know that we really don't have a choice because people throw it at their TVs and there'll be lawsuits. But not really a big fan, especially when I have to adjust it on the fly. It's annoying. But the light bulb's really neat. Obviously, it's not working right now because I'm not playing a move type game, but it does do some pretty neat effects, especially high velocity bowling, for example. When you get a strike, the light bulb just goes insane, which is kind of cool. The buttons are a little bit small. I don't know if you can see them. I'll kind of bring that close there, but they're a little bit on the small side. But you get used to where they are. It's not the typical layout. The kind of like diamond layout, like you see on the controller there. It's more two on each side, and then there's the big move button in the middle, and the guide button, and then a trigger on the back. The nav controller. The problem with the nav controller is that both the D-pad and the analog stick are very, very sensitive. You have to be very careful when you're maneuvering through menus with these because you will fly by whatever option you're trying to choose. So be very careful with that. So let's talk about a couple of games here, shall we? First of all, let us talk about Brunswick Pro Bowling, which is this guy right here. Brunswick Pro Bowling comes from the same team, Farsight Studios and Crave Games, that gave us Pinball Hall of Fame, which is one of my favorite games ever. And while the effort is good, and there are some nice things that lend themselves to real bowling, like league play, actual Brunswick bowling balls, something feels wrong with this game. The way that you have to line up your shots by using the trigger button on the back of your controller to first get your bowler set. And it's not by moving left and right in front of the camera. It's actually by tilting your controller left and right, which doesn't feel all that intuitive. And then you have to adjust your angle, again with the same controller. And then after that, then you have to cock your hand back and throw forward just like you would in Wii bowling. And that doesn't seem to work right all the time either. It does show some interesting statistics as far as the speed of your throw, but there are times when you really cock back and fire that you only wind up getting 13, 14 miles an hour out of the ball, where usually you're getting 19 or 20 miles an hour, and that can totally affect the path of the ball, especially if you're using one that hooks a lot. So really can't recommend this one, although it is only $30, and I love the development studio and Crave Games, and I know that there's another Pinball Hall of Fame lurking somewhere in the future, and I wish them well with that. But with this, especially with high velocity bowling out there, which is a little bit more expensive, but the physics and the way that the move controller is adapted, that just works so much better. And we'll talk about high velocity bowling now, actually. High velocity bowling actually detects your space. So it's almost like you're standing on the lane. So if you move left or move right, the camera actually will follow you when it's wide angle, and that will determine where you're lining up on the lane. And then obviously throwing the ball is as simple as cocking back and firing. Spin control is a little odd. It doesn't necessarily pick up the crack of the wrist, and that can be a problem, especially if you use a big hook. But still, the game is as fun as it ever was. The challenge mode isn't quite as robust as Brunswick's league mode and career mode, but if you're just looking for a casual game of bowling rather than paying the $10 and getting the stinky shoes and whatnot, high velocity bowling is the way to go. And if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you actually get the move patch for nothing, so all you have to do is spend the $10 in the PlayStation Store to get the game. So that's a good move game to start with. The other game I want to talk about real quick, because I don't want this video to go on forever, is Sports Champions, which is this guy right here. I had a devil of a time getting Sports Champions to work, but I finally got it to work with my second Move controller. I actually got 2 of these. And I only played table tennis, and it's fun. This is a lot better than table tennis in the Wii Sports Resort. You've got, again, a range of motion because the camera is following you, so you actually have to step forward, you have to step back, move left and right, and the way that you hold your controller based on how you twist it and turn it is almost one-to-one, where your paddle actually mirrors your motions. So there's a little bit of a process of getting used to that control, but once you do, it plays just like ping pong, and it's good stuff. I'll be playing the other events later. Unfortunately, I have to work a little bit later this afternoon, but Sports Champions, from what I've seen early on, is pretty good. I also do want to talk about the Move demo disc, which comes with the Sports Champions bundle. There are some decent demos in there. Most notably, the Time Crisis demo is, although the graphics are a little herky-jerky, I guess is a good term, although it's not a professional term. It feels just like Time Crisis. You're using your move button to pop out of cover, using your riot shield, and then you're using your trigger button to fire. And it works pretty well. It feels just like the arcade. And the interesting thing about Raising Storm is that there are actually going to be 3 different light gun games on there. Time Crisis 4, which is excellent. Raising Storm, which is the new game. And then there's a 3rd game on there. So you're getting 3 games for the price of 1. So that will be one worth looking forward to. I haven't had a chance to play Tiger Woods 2011 yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to. Those of you who have talked to me on Twitter before probably heard me gripe about the fact that when I play with a motion sensing controller when it comes to golf, I'm awful because I don't have a good golf swing. I actually make Charles Barkley look talented. So I will try it at some point, and I will talk about it as time allows. But anyway, this has been a presentation of EyeCreate. Thank you to the PlayStation Eye camera right there in front of me for tracking this. And we'll do another one of these soon. Thank you.